Boom. Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to another Wild Rift video. And as you can see, that's not my name right there. It's Darkbreaker. And I believe he's gonna be here as well. Hello?
Yo, what's up, guys? Darkbreaker here. Yo, nice to be here back again at the channel. Yeah, let's see how the gameplay is gonna go, and we are both gonna talk about the gameplay. And Hells is probably gonna ask me all of his questions on how to play Fiora correctly, or why I'm doing what in each scenario. So yeah, let's get started.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to mention, by the way, there's gonna be a lot of gameplays, collaborated gameplays, because on Darkbreaker's channel especially, and those are gonna be live gameplays. So if you want to see me and Darkbreaker play live together as well, obviously I've put links to his channel in the description, etc. So I really recommend you to check it out if you know, because a lot of people ask me on my channel at least to see me play live. I cannot do it because of my capture card, but it's gonna be on Darkbreaker's channel. So some exclusive content is gonna be on his channel. He actually uploaded one already where he played what was it? Draven Jungle?
Draven Jungle, and you were Gregor's top lane. Because Hells was like, yeah, let's make this this stream more exciting. So the viewers just asked or challenged us to play a troll pick. Like every time one of us had to play a troll pick. So a lot of pretty funny content there.
Yeah, we basically challenged Darkbreakers. Well, we challenged ourselves by telling Darkbreakers chat, you know, tell us whatever you want to see us play and we'll do it. So I basically had some games playing Teemo in the Dragon Lane. He played Draven in the jungle. We've had Nasus games, just some crazy games. And those games are going to be on his channel. So I definitely recommend you to check it out. So now let's talk about Fiora. And I know you're a good Fiora, right? Like I am good at Fiora. But you are really good at Fiora. I've seen your Fiora, and I'm sure my viewers have seen your Fiora as well. And you're playing Fiora in the jungle. It's not like anything special about jungle Fiora, because what I always like to say is jungle Fiora is not that strong in the early game, but she skills really well into the late game. What do you have to say about it?
I would say she is actually pretty strong at every stage of the game. Especially her level 3 is really good. Just because she is such a strong duelist that you can contest the scuttle a lot of times against a majority of junglers. Obviously, you have to consider the priority of your lanes, but let's assume it's a pure 1 versus 1. And then if you use the second ability, the repost, correctly, you can block abilities, and if they use their crowd control onto you, you can even stun them and turn the 1 versus 1 into your favor. So Fiora is a very popular pick both in solo queue high elo and in competitive, one of the most contested picks in general.
I just want to confirm something, by the way, because this is a thing that I believe is true. Fiora can even 1 versus 1 Lee Sin at level 3. Is that correct? If you correctly use your second ability on Fiora?
Yeah, I think if you can block the first ability of him, then you can definitely do it. But it's a hard matchup because you have to predict his first ability correctly.
Yeah, you have to predict his engage. Like, if he engages on you and you block that full damage engage with your second ability, I'm pretty sure she can win even against Lee Sin. And then against any other champion, she should be fine, as long as you're able to proc the vitals. And that is really the power of Fiora jungle in the early game, I guess. Because if you proc the vitals and block a lot of damage or crowd control, as he mentioned, you can pretty much win any 1 versus 1, right?
And then she has pretty strong burst damage as well. Not only the vitals, but remember the second auto attack of your third ability also does critical strike damage. So, like, you just hit the vital auto attack with the third ability. The first third ability is gonna slow them. In combination with your red buff, that's gonna slow them a lot. And then the next auto attack is gonna do even more damage. And I'm also running Conqueror, so the more stacks you're getting, the more damage you will do additionally.
Yeah, and how about the build? Because there's not going to be a build part in this video. There are many videos about how to build Fiora in the Baron lane, but I know, for example, if you play Camille in the jungle, Blade of the Rune King can be better than playing Camille in the Baron lane. Is the same thing true for Fiora? Do you run Blade of the Rune King on her in the jungle?
Yeah, it basically applies the same for Camille and Fiora. That the core item is obviously Trinity Force, and then the second core item is usually depending on what you want to, or how the how your team is, like your team composition and the enemy team composition. So if you guys want to farm more, you have more damage, then Blade of the Rune King is amazing. But if you feel like you want to join those team fights and you want to be more tanky, have that ability haste, have the cauterize passive from the Death Dance, then going Death Dance second is also fine, but usually I go Blade of the Rune King second, just because I feel like it has the better 1 vs 9 carry potential.
Yeah, more damage, right? Oh, sure, it's
Yeah,
not gonna make you
exactly.
as tanky, but it's gonna have insane damage. It's really, really nice. What was I gonna say? I was thinking about something, but I just completely forgot about it. So, yeah, no, I just completely forgot about it. Wow, that's kind of stupid.
Maybe playstyle or something, maybe decision
Draft.
making.
I was
Oh,
gonna talk about the
draft.
draft. So, like, okay,
Okay.
there's this thing with Fiora, right? Like, it's pretty much always a decent pick, but are there some champions that you would definitely say, okay, never pick Fiora into that? Or like, are hard counters to Fiora? Because I actually don't know that.
Yeah. I think Fiora is actually one of those safest picks you can
Yeah.
actually go for. Majority of the time you can just first pick here. Both in the Baron lane and in the jungle, she doesn't really have any hard counters. But I have definitely two champions that I really hate to play against when they get ahead are Vayne and Lucian as a Fiora, because
Ooh,
they
yeah.
do have so much mobility and they can kite you. And a Vayne that gets ahead and is fed, she can 1 versus 1 you. She's like, basically 1 versus 1 she can beat you if she's ahead. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
Considering that Fiora is such a strong duelist and an ADC can contest against you.
Ooh, that was a nice little combo. Oh, about that flash combo, I've talked about it many times. It's a bit harder than it looks, right? Because it looks so easy, but it takes some time to develop the skill of pretty much hitting it like 100%. Because there's this crazy combo with Fiora. We saw it during, what was it, the Horizon Cup? There was this player, Azar. I'm quite sure you're familiar with him.
Yeah,
Like
from
he
Team
really
Secret.
yeah, exactly, from Team Secret. He really popularized Fiora, and especially that crazy flash combo that you just did, where you use your first ability and then flash to extend the range. So this is a change that happened to Wild Rift like a few months ago. They changed the way that flash interacts with abilities, so now you can combo it with Fiora. But this is a really hard combo to pull off, or do you experience it a little differently?
I think it really depends. Usually I use it as a finisher move when they're low life, and just using the first ability would be enough to reach them. Then you
Yeah.
can extend the range with the flash, or if you wanna start a 1 vs 1, you can also use the S1 flash right on top of them immediately to get close super quickly. But majority of the times I just like to use it as a finishing move. And using Protobelt correctly is probably way more important than using this combo with
You can
the
proc vitals with
S1
Protobelt
flash.
too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So usually what I like to do is a quick burst combo is you use your first ability on the first vital that is in front of you. You activate the ultimate and then use the Protobelt immediately, so
Yeah.
you can proc 2 vitals within 0.5 seconds.
And
That's
then
a
basic
huge
attack as
burst
well.
combo.
Basic, because
Exactly.
after the protobot you can instantly basic attack, then third ability, and yeah, like there's these crazy combos. And what I always like to tell my viewers is practice this on dummies, because it's hard. It's not like this is easy to pull off, because Fiora would definitely be like one of the harder champions to pull off correctly, like to really get good at. For me personally, it took me like, I think it took me like 50 games to at least understand how to properly proc her vitals, and then like 100 games, 150 games to actually get good at her. And you can actually proc her ultimate in like 1 second or something. But yet again, you have to know these crazy combos that Darkbreaker told you about, right? It's not just dashing with your first ability, proccing vitals and things like that. You have to know how the proto belt works. You have to know how the flash combos work. You have to know how to do the fast combos. And yeah, do you have anything to add to that, or maybe to say that I'm not
I
right?
think two things that you guys need to know when it comes to the vitals is that it always spawns at the the first vital is, for example, spawning towards your nexus side, and the vital
This
afterwards is
side.
gonna spawn to the opposite side, towards the enemy nexus side. So you can that way you can determine which way it's gonna spawn. Kinda. And also when it comes to resetting the vital, which is super important in the laning phase, when you go out of vision, you can reset the vital position and it's gonna be at the opposite side again. So let's say it's not in front of you but behind him, then go out of vision, in a bush for example, and then you go back into the vision, then it will be right in front of you, and that way you can harass the opponent much more easier. So not only for the jungle but mainly for the Baron lane.
Yeah, definitely. That is super important. And I think that I want to add to that, when you're playing jungle Fiora, these are the tiny little details that I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys never really pay attention to. But when you're trying to gank a lane and suddenly a vital appears to the enemy while you're seemingly out of vision, you're actually not out of vision. Because vitals can only appear when you're within vision of the enemy. So like when you're trying to gank this Zed and you're waiting in a bush and suddenly a vital appears on the Zed, it means that the Zed can see you. So that's a nice little tip that you can have, because then you'll basically know that there is a ward in that bush.
And one thing you guys might be wondering is in this gameplay, because we were talking about the proto build, it's that I actually went for the stasis just because they have the Z. So you always have to pay attention about what the enemies are playing and what enchantments can be really useful against them, because you can block the death mark from Zed's ultimate using stasis. So that's why I actually went for the stasis instead of proto build. Besides that, you can also use the second ability to block it, but I feel like having that stasis just makes you having more security to survive, and you can play more aggressively.
I want to ask something though, because I play a lot of Fiora, but I've never tried this thing, which is the Stone Plate. Would Stone Plate ever be worth as an enchantment on Fiora? I don't think so, but what is your take on it?
Because you're lowering your damage. That's you get HP, but you lower the damage you're doing during the duration of Stone Plate. For example, on Camille, I really like it because you can jump on into the back line. You have the Sterox gauge, and then you're just holding a lot of people and you're tanking so much, while the ADC is, for example, caught in that ultimate. So I think on a champion like Camille, it's pretty good, but on a Fiora, that's like the hyper carry damage dealer. I feel like it's like counterproductive because you're getting a lot of HP. It makes you more tanky, but your job is basically to just be the damage.
Yeah, you're
dealer.
the assassinator.
Either you flank or you play front to back. Like a lot of times, I see people that just rush into the backline as a Fiora. In some scenarios, it works if the ADC is completely out of position. Then yes, you can go for it. But majority of the times, it's actually better to play front to back, and that means you're just playing with your teammates together, 5 versus 5, and you're just focusing the first person in line, for example the tank. And Fiora is insanely good at killing the tank immediately with that ultimate, with that true damage, and then everyone within the ultimate is getting healed. So that's the advantage you're getting by playing front to back, because sometimes you will not reach the back line, and you will
like here, this play right there.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Ashe was so behind and I couldn't reach her, so sometimes it's just better to focus the first person in line instead.
Yeah, and a thing with Fiora as well, it can sometimes be a little hard to choose which enemy to ult, right? Because as we saw in the last fight, you initially ulted the Ashe, but then you couldn't actually dive her. And this is like one of the most frustrating things to happen when you're playing Fiora, because of course when you waste your ultimate, it's such an important cooldown. How do you go about that, right? Like, how do you decide who to ult? I mean, of course, it's not always going to be perfect, but how do you try to make the right decision on who to ult? Like right here, this was good.
Usually, I try to ult the target I want to aim for, like hyper carry ADC or the mid laner, for example, or someone who's fed where I want the shutdown from that person. But in some cases, it's just better to just use the ultimate immediately onto the tank and kill him. Like I said, 5 versus 5.
Yeah, especially in the late game, because your ult, I believe in the late game, if you proc all 4 vitals, your ult should deal like 36% of the enemy's max HP damage, right? Which is huge against tanks.
Yeah, it does tons of damage. Like you can burst people super quickly as a Fiora. Like you don't even need armor penetration. I know some people like to still go for Cyrilla's Grudge.
For the slow.
Like random, just for the... You guys need to remember, your damage is not only the vitals, but also you use so many auto attacks in between. So that way you can maximize your damage, and if they have a lot of armor, then it's definitely still viable.
Yeah, so even though her vitals all deal true damage, she still deals a lot of attack damage besides that. And that's also why I actually brought up the Stone Plate, because I feel like it is perhaps worth a try. Because the whole reason that Stone Plate is good on Camille is because, as you said, she likes to dive in the backline, tank some damage. But then the second reason as well is when you use your first ability, that second charge of it just deals true damage. So using a stone plate doesn't actually reduce that damage at all. So that's why I was potentially wondering that stone plate, I don't know, it sounds crazy, but maybe it's like a whole new meta because we're seeing Black Cleaver Corki in NA anyways, so why no stone plate?
I mean maybe if you wanna be the maybe if you're the only frontline or someone like everyone is squishy and you're the only frontline, then maybe you can go for it. But Fiora is not necessarily the greatest teamfight champion. Sometimes you just have to focus on playing side lane or like focus on split pushing and then joining the teamfight later by applying pressure in the side lanes, creating a situation where maybe 2 or 3 people are trying to defend you. And then you get an advantage, so your teammates can go for an objective like Baron or Elder. And otherwise, you can just always push the lanes and then join the team fight, and someone is going to be later because he has to defend the wave. So, depends if you can fight 5 versus 5. Sometimes you don't have the good team comp to fight a 5 versus 5.
Yeah. So, wow. You're dealing so much
damage. That was
damage
a nice Momo combo.
Yeah, that was crazy. Malphite ultimate and the Orianna ultimate. So that's another thing about Fiora indeed. So when you're playing jungle Fiora, do you ever split push? Because you're likely not going to have a teleport. You're very likely going to go for a proto belt. But do you ever decide to split push even as a jungle Fiora while you have a smite?
Yeah, a lot of times actually. I like to play... Majority of the times, I prefer to get the Herald and get the first turret of the game.
So you skip the first dragon quite often.
Yeah, exactly. Just because I get so much gold from that. I think we're already ending the game here. Yeah, I'm also... Like, if you're playing a split-pushing jungler, you can get so much gold and tempo by getting the Herald, getting the first turret, running Mastermind, and you get... Even if you sacrifice a Mountain Dragon or an Ocean Dragon, you will end up getting so much gold, and gold means more items, and you can carry better. Better
than 100% of Fioras, by the way, in Grandmaster rank. That's a feel good, man. Feels good, man. All right, so that is it for the video. Keep in mind, check out Darkbreaker's channel because there's gonna be a lot of amazing content uploaded right there. And thank you so much for being a guest.
Yo, thanks for having me again. Hope you guys enjoyed this video together, and definitely write down some questions below so we can answer them. And yeah, that's gonna be it.
Yeah, see you guys. Bye bye.